Hello, my name is Wangashi and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something different that I actually have not done before on my channel. I'm going to be baking a cake using products that I received from Backaldrin. They sent me a package and I'm going to try out one of their recipes for you. So I received 3 mixes and a block of chocolate. So the chocolate is here, it's wrapped really well, and it's the coolest thing I ever saw because the company name is imprinted into the chocolate, and it actually tastes so good considering I'm not a chocolate fan, and it's actually quite silky. Everyone I give it to has really liked it, so I'm also, for today's recipe, I'm definitely going to use that. And I also got English cake, a cake mix, and the recipes, the recipe is simple, very easy to follow, and doesn't need too much to get it done. Then I also got a chocolate muffin. This is what I want to try out today. And finally, whipping cream. It's just powdered whipping cream that you add milk or water into it to mix. So for today's recipe, I'm going to do the chocolate muffin. It needs you to do like whole cake box mix with 95 ml vegetable oil, 3 large eggs, and 100 ml water. You need to bake in your oven at 160 to 190, so I'm definitely using 180 because that's what I prefer to bake in. It says beat the mixture manually for 3 minutes using a whisk, or for 1 minute using an electric mixer. Then switch to medium speed for another 2 minutes and adjust the speed to a high setting for 1 final minute until the consistency is right. Then divide the batter into muffin cups and then bake for 17 to 22 minutes. But for today, I'm not going to be making, I know it's a chocolate mix, but it's a cupcake muffin mix, but I'm just going to turn it into a cake because muffins are not really liked in this household. And for the oil, I'm going to replace my oil with butter and my water with buttermilk because it's a chocolate cake mix and I prefer to use buttermilk. But you can easily follow and use whatever they recommended, but I want to make the cake mix into my own recipe, so I'm going to substitute the oil and the butter and the water with butter and buttermilk. And then for your butter, I'd recommend you use unsalted butter because here in the ingredients list, what's contained in the cake mix, it says it has salt. So I don't want to risk using salted butter and then my cake ends up being too salty. Yeah. As per the instructions in the box, I have 3 eggs, butter instead of oil, and buttermilk instead of water. So for the butter, I'm using 95 grams. And then for the buttermilk, because it's a bit thicker, buttermilk mala, because it's a bit thicker, I'm going to use 125 ml instead of 100 ml of water. So the butter, I'm going to melt it. So before you begin, the first thing you need to do is preheat your oven. The box mix says preheat your oven at 160, between 160 and 190. So I'm going to be using the usual 180 degrees or 350 F. I'm going to sift my cake mix. So whisk this together. and then add your dry ingredients into the wet ingredients. So I'm finding the mix a bit heavy. I'm guessing it's because of the buttermilk. So I'm going to add another 125 ml, kidogo kidogo, until it softens. This is mainly because when you use milk in a recipe, you use almost double the amount of buttermilk when you're substituting milk with buttermilk. So since I used practically half a cup, I'm going to add another half a cup, so that this can be a bit smoother. And I'm sure if I leave it like this, the cake is going to be a bit too thick for anyone's liking, and then a bit too dry. So as you can see, adding that 125 ml has definitely changed the consistency of the mix. If I'd left it, if I'd only used half a cup, 125 ml, the cake mix would have ended up being too heavy, and probably the cake would have turned out too dry. I'm going to use a 6-inch baking pan that's greased and lined. My oven is preheating at 180. So I'm going to divide my cake batter into three equal tins. And then if I have any left over, I'm going to make it into some cupcakes. I'm going to try and divide my batter into 300 grams per tin. That way I have 3 layers, and one cake bakes faster than putting all of it in one tin, and also so I don't have to level, or rather tot, while doing my filling. So I'm going to bake the cakes at once for, here it says for 17 to 22 minutes if you're doing the cupcakes, but the other box that has cake says 35 minutes. So I'm going to first set my oven at 25 because I've divided my batter into 3, and then I'll let you know if I did add time while it bakes. So for my filling, I want to use a chocolate mousse that I'm going to be making with the chocolate and the whipped cream that Backaldrin gave me. So for the chocolate, I need 200 grams of the dark chocolate. So I'm just going to break this into small pieces and weigh out 200 grams. So here's the thing about this chocolate that I really like. It's actually quite soft for chocolate that's just been kept in the, what do you say, for room temperature chocolate. It hasn't hardened considering how cold it's been in Nairobi for the past few days, and our house gets really cold, but the chocolate is still soft. And yeah, and also it's very silky. I have genuinely liked it for a non-chocolate person. This has actually made me happy. The whipping cream, it's powder whipping cream, and it says you add 70 ml of water and then whip it into the consistency that you'd prefer. it says that water should be at a range of 10 degrees C. So I'm going to use fridge water. And add 70 ml water. For the whipped cream, the packet that I had received from Backaldrin had been written that it contains sachets and that each sachet was supposed to be mixed with 70 ml of water, but that wasn't the case with the box that I received. However, I'd already asked Backaldrin about it, and they did inform me that the boxes were differently packed here and in other countries, hence the error with the box that I received. I did try starting with 70 ml of water just to confirm whether it was an error or it would work, but as you can see, when I started mixing, it didn't work out, so I ended up using in total 500 ml of water so as to make my cream into the consistency that I wanted. I added a little at a time just in case I wouldn't end up using the whole 500 ml, but you can always use a ratio of 1:1 for your cream and liquid. So if you're going to use milk or water, you can use a ratio of 1:1 so as you get to the consistency that you would like. I also did ask Backaldrin if the boxes that are going to be sold would have the same error, and they did confirm that the boxes will be packed in 500 grams, so it will just be one pack inside. But in case yours does have sachets inside, each sachet is supposed to be mixed with 70 ml of water, and if yours has one packet inside, you can use a ratio of 1:1. To begin with my mousse, I'm going to melt my dark chocolate in a double boiler and then add some whipped cream and gelatin so that it can set well. So to start off my mousse, I'm going to soak 1 teaspoon of gelatin into 1 tablespoon of room temperature water. Let this bloom for about 5 minutes, then you can use it. For my cream, I'm going to divide it into 2 portions. One portion I'm going to melt, the other one I'm going to leave whipped. So I'm going to measure 180 grams. So I'm going to melt this in the microwave and then leave this other portion whipped. Once the whipping cream is warm, add your bloomed gelatin. And stir them together. Then add your gelatin and melted cream into the melted chocolate. Whisk this together. Then add the remaining cream a little at a time. So the first batch of cream you whisk it in, and then for the remaining cream you fold in. So since I want to use my mousse as a filling, I'm going to let it set in the fridge for about 30 minutes, so it's still a little thick but a little spreadable. For some reason, my mousse didn't set, yet I used a recipe that I've used severally before. It ended up being more of a thick sauce than a mousse. I'm definitely going to try it out once again using the same ingredients and see what it is that I did wrong. If you have a solution or can figure out what happened, please let me know in the comments down below. The filling did turn out great though. It's quite silky, light, and not overwhelming on the palate. So once the cake has cooled, I'm going to decorate it with the whipped cream and the mousse that I made. So to start off, I'm going to do just a thin layer. Then I'm going to put a boundary so that when I pipe the mousse, since I've not let my mousse set completely, it doesn't flow out of my thingy, my cake. I'm going to fill with a bit of strawberries. So I'm going to add a skewer the same height as my cake so that I can come back to decorate. I want my mousse to set completely while in the cake. So I'll be back to decorate fully after this has set in. So I wrapped my cake in cling film because I was going to freeze it for a little bit so that my mousse could set without my cake becoming too messy. So I'm leaving my cake as a semi-naked cake, so I'm only going to do a very thin coat of cream and then put it back in the fridge. I did the chocolate muffin and then I made the cream and added chocolate to make a mousse. So first going to review the whipping cream. Firstly, taste wise and smell, it tastes so good and smells so good. Considering I don't like cream at all, this actually tastes so wonderful, and it's light, it's fluffy. Highly recommend it, but it actually is quite good. My thing was, the box that I got is 500 grams of powder cream, and then it said add 70 ml of water per sachet, but mine didn't come with sachets, but I did ask, and they said there's a box that says it's packed full, and there's other boxes that are packed in sachets. So the one for the sachets has 3 pieces inside, and then mine 500 grams would have 1 piece. I mixed, so it says 70 ml water per sachet, but since mine didn't have sachets inside, I had to figure out what to do, and I tried with 70 ml, definitely didn't work, so I ended up doing a ratio of 1:1. So 500 grams of the powder cream and 500 grams, or rather 500 ml of water. And what else can I say? And it whipped really fast and really well, but it tastes so good. It's very light, it's very fluffy. You can also, instead of using water, you can use milk, but I don't like milk. I don't like the taste of dairy cream, so I opted to use water. So you can easily substitute to what you prefer, what your preference is, or maybe you can use non-dairy milk, like soy milk, almond milk. Depends on your taste and your preference. So, but it does contain cow milk powder in the ingredients. So, but you can't taste the cow milk, because that's why I don't like milk, because of the dairy taste. So yes, it's not non-dairy, but it does taste kind of almost like non-dairy cream. And then for the chocolate one, I used my cake mix to make a cake instead of muffins, but I did make 1 muffin, and to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of chocolate, but I did taste the cake batter and it tasted really well. So I'm going to finish this whole muffin for the taste test. First things first, it's so light, it's so fluffy. Oh my goodness. It's very light, it's very fluffy. It does kind of have an ice cream taste to it. I don't know if it's a mix of the cake mix and the whipping cream, but it definitely does kind of have an ice cream taste to it. It's actually quite good, but it's really good. It's really fluffy. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, thank you for following along, and do let me know if you do get to try any of their products. I saw the products online, they're quite price friendly. I think each box was approximately 500 bob, give or take. So go follow Backaldrin on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, so you can get to see the prices from the website and decide what you would like to try out first. They're quite good. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I'll definitely see you in the next one. Bye.